you guys think that I've been ignoring you, no, I have heard you. I know that you want to see the bagels. I know. I get it. I just have been loathing making this video for no reason at all. The house is a mess. We have no groceries. I've got literally nothing in the fridge, and I have better things to do, but I'm going to make you some bagels. First things first, we are going to just clear off our counter of all bits and bobs that the toddler has thrown everywhere. And now he wants Baby Shark back on, so hold on. And I'm not kidding. Look, like this, and just 2 lighters. He likes to play with fire. And this is Ben's, like, 54th coffee cup. Now that that's done, let's get to making bagels. And stop looking at yourself in the viewfinder. It's a bad habit. Now you may ask, why not just buy bagels from the store? I have chronic ADHD and I like to be good at everything. I have my handy dandy mixer here because I'm busy and I don't have time to do it by hand, but you can do this by hand if you'd like. Just show me up, that's fine. You can be better than me. I use this. We've got a 1.5 cups of warm water. Hopefully that went in there because I was not looking. But we want to use warm water in our bagels because hot water will kill our yeast and cold water won't help activate the yeast and make it all fluffy and do its yeasty thing. Okay? Warm water in the mixer. Now we're on to the sugar and yeast. Now when it comes to bread, there's a lot of waiting, so what we are waiting for right now is for our yeast to be activated. It'll look frothy and white and fluffy, and that's how you know you didn't kill it, and you can continue on with the rest of the recipe. So you'll see that white frothiness. That's what you want to see. That means your yeast is alive and well, and you didn't murder it. Now that you've successfully forgotten about your bread the first time, and it's just been sitting there for a while, we can continue. I was feeling a little bit hangry, so I made myself some breakfast. There's just yogurt, so I'll probably continue to be hangry. Into our mixer goes 3 cups of flour to start and about a tablespoon of salt. We probably, most likely, will be adding more flour, but after you want to do it gradually so you don't add too much flour and dry out your dough. And we go, bloop. Oh, and we also get Ben's very expensive lens. Not floury. Don't watch this. No one tell him either. Don't tell him about the lens. Okay? It wasn't me.
Hey, why is there flour on my 24 to 70?
And then about a tablespoon of salt. If you haven't noticed in this video, I don't really follow recipes, nor do I measure. So that looks about good. Good enough. Now that I found these guys that the toddler hid, we're going to attach them to our mixer and let our mixer mix. What we're looking for is our dough to come together and not be too wet so it sticks to the side of the bowl, but also not be too dry so you don't want to hear it scraping along the bowl. That's a bad sound. We want the perfect consistency. During this phase of making the bread, what we're really doing is we're watching the consistency of the dough. So once you know it's done, it'll be the correct consistency. And I will show you what that means. If I look at it and I see that it's really stuck to the bowl, it still looks really wet, I'm going to add more flour little by little. If you take a look in my mixer here, you can see that the bottom of the dough is still sticking to the bowl. So what I'm going to do, I've got some flour here. I'm just going to add a small little sprinkle into the bottom there, a little bit more, and we're going to let that mix and figure out what our dough texture is. This is what your bread looks like when it is the proper consistency. See how it is rolling around and it is not sticking to the bowl anymore. I've been letting it go for a couple of minutes, so we are at the perfect consistency. Now what we're gonna do is we're just gonna leave our bread alone until it has doubled or tripled in size, and then we get to the fun part, which is the cooking part. Night night. It's been a couple of hours. I went out for groceries, so let's check on that dough. As you can see, she has doubled in size and she's very soft. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of oil on my hands and we're going to start forming these into buns. I usually make about 10 to 12 bagels out of this size dough. Now that I got a little bit of oil on my hands, I'm going to take some of our dough here. That much is good. But this is one of the most important parts. Excuse me. So, this is one of the most important parts when it comes to making bagels, because this step is what will give you the structure for your bagels. If I was to just let this rise into a bun like this, what it would do is it would flatten as it rises. And we want it to rise upwards. So how we do that is we take our bun here, and you basically want to just fold it in half and fold it in half again. And in this stage, what you're going to start feeling is you'll feel the gluten strands start to strengthen. So you'll feel your dough here is tough now, and it's no longer super, super soft. So once you feel it's nice and tough, just kind of squeeze those edges together and make a little bun. And then you're going to go ahead and do that with the rest of your dough. There's a lot of waiting when it comes to bread, so I apologize, but you're going to have to cover up those buns we made and let them rest again until they're doubled in size. That was weird. That was the sound. Now that I have a pot of boiling water on the stove, this part is really optional. You can go ahead and put a couple tablespoons of sugar, honey, maple syrup into the water if you like that little bit of sweetness on the outside of a bagel. I'm not going to. I'm just going to boil them in just plain water. Okay, so my buns here have doubled in size. My water is boiling, and we're going to go ahead and do what feels the most unnatural at this point. What we're going to do is take our thumbs, and we are going to poke a hole in the middle of our bun. And I like to do a little stretchy with my hands. You want to make that hole in the middle of your bagel a little bit bigger than you think it should be, because they will expand, so you want to give it room to still have that bagel hole once it's all expanded. And then from there, we take her and we just pop her into some boiling water. These guys are going to cook in the boiling water for 1 minute on each side. So after 1 minute, you're going to flip, cook it again for 1 minute, and then take it out of the water and put it onto a lined baking tray. While I have you here, I'm just going to explain why we boil. Why do we boil bagels? I get that question a lot, and really, if I was to poke a hole into the middle of that bun that we had to create the bagel shape and go ahead and bake it, that's going to be a bun. What is different about a bagel is the texture. Bagels are nice and chewy, and we create that chewy texture by boiling. So that is why we boil, and that is why we cannot skip the boiling stage. As soon as your bagels are done boiling on each side, place them onto a lined baking sheet and go ahead and sprinkle whatever kind of topping that you want. I'm doing everything bagel seasoning because it's our favorite, but you can do sesame seeds, poppy seeds, really, whatever you want. After we've put all the toppings on our bagels, what we're going to do is preheat our oven to 350 degrees and then bake the bagels for 20 to 25 minutes or until golden brown. And after about 25 minutes, our bagels are out of the oven. I apologize in advance because you or your family will never want store-bought bagels again, just because these are so much better. It's definitely worth the work to have your own fresh-made bagels. These are really hot. Put those down.